Johnson. I'm originally from New Orleans, Louisiana. I attended Columbia State Community College, transferred to Alabama A&M. This is grade 10, 11, 12? Grade 10. I try to often think back where my mind was at grade 10, and I had no idea, as probably most of you don't have an idea of a career path, a career choice. And there's been a lot of stuff in between grade 10 and now. I've been around the world, I've traveled a lot. Right now I work for an organization called ICANN. ICANN is a charity, the International Charity Association Network. About 3 years ago, I pitched the idea to the charity about incorporating a youth program for youth, for after school education through basketball, volleyball, soccer. And it didn't exist before that. And basically what I'm trying to say is that whatever career path you choose in life, it doesn't necessarily have to be through a university or college, because everybody is not educationally inclined. But that doesn't make you, it doesn't make you not special or whatever. Just keep an open mind. There's many positions in life, and what the world has showed us so far. We live in a complicated world, but the world is open to new ideas, new expressions, and you can do anything you want to, achieve anything. I encourage you to just stay positive. And I remember in grade 10, I had no clue about the SAT test, the pre-test to get into college, because my counselors, they wasn't so active with the student body. And I was thrust into a situation where I had a test, and it was contingent upon me receiving scholarship, but I wasn't ready, so I froze. But I kept going, and I kept persevering and pushing forward. And I would encourage you just to grab opportunity, take advantage of opportunity. Opportunities everywhere. Canada is a beautiful country. I think what I've noticed that a lot of youth, they figure that because you live in Canada is different, that you're missing something in America. I just want to tell you that you're privileged to be in this country, because America is not so great. I'm not talking against America, but America is no different than Canada. But actually got a smaller population here, so it gives you a more chance for opportunity because of the less population and less politics and stuff like that. Freedom of religion, freedom of expression. And I also happened to grow up with about 6 or 7 of the top rappers that you probably heard of. Grew up in my neighborhood. I know you guys are probably into Lil Wayne. Right? Okay. Lil Wayne used to hang out at the community center. Because my neighborhood is the old neighborhood of Louis Armstrong, who was a trumpet player. Right? And he has a community center in our neighborhood. And most of these guys used to hang out in the neighborhood. And what surprised me is that although the beats and the music is nice, but if you really listen to the lyrics and the point that he's trying to get across, it doesn't tie into our social, our social living. I'm nothing against music itself, but I think that the lyrics are important, that we listen to the lyrics. Any questions?
How did you go from the States and end up in Canada? What about your basketball career? Can you tell us more?
Basketball career has been up and down. I don't often speak about this, but I was supposed to be the first player to sign the Toronto Raptors back in '95. But something called politics stepped into the play. And as you go on in life, you'll realize sometimes that you'll be put out of situations not based upon your talent, but sometimes it's about your connection and your association, who you associate with. So who you associate with is very important, because everybody in here represents an equation. Everybody represents an equation in life. So which equation do you tend to lend your time to? Negative or positive? Because only positive stacks, negative subtracts. So I mean, in every situation, you must measure, is it a positive situation or is it negative? Because we're all here to build positive, right? Everybody want to make money. Money is a plus. And that's the same with everything that pertains to earth and on earth. I first played in Malta in 1993, a small island right outside of Sicily. I played in Sicily, I played in Italy, I played in Israel, I played in Panama, I played in a country called Estonia, which is the old Baltic, it's a Soviet bloc. And I was there up until 2004. And when I flew into the city called Tallinn, it's like an old San Francisco. Estonia was, Estonia was in the process of joining the EU, the European Union. But at that time, Russia was contesting their position. So when I actually got there, downtown, there were Russian tanks and the soldiers were marching. They marched down to the Parliament building. But the EU soldiers stepped in, and they had to turn around and go back to Moscow, because Moscow was like 70 clicks away. So that was interesting. I lived in Israel. Israel's my second home. I would just like to say also that even to most of you, any of you that are religious, just although there's divides in our world that separate a lot of people, but what you all have to measure as an individual is that it doesn't matter what was before or even what's after. Everybody's individual equation is important. And we know that positive adds to any situation and negative subtracts. Because there's good and bad everywhere. Right?
Well, what I was wondering too is how you went from the States. Did you go directly from the States to here?
No.
What was the process of that? And how did you become a pro basketball player?
Well, everybody that plays basketball, I mean, I don't know if there's athletes and there's basketball players here?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess in your mind, you want to play in the NBA one day, right? I mean, that's very possible. And I'm not going to discourage anybody that wants to ascribe something to the material world. Because we got to realize that this mode of existence is temporary. So what is the true purpose? And I think true purpose goes beyond anything that we can see or interact with. Because I believe that in each of us there's an energy that surpasses what's seen. So I mean, the NBA is a business first of all. So that's the way you have to approach it, as a business. And in business, it's very important that you make alliances and connections and you position yourself. Because talent, what I was told when I actually entered the Raptors camp, was that my talent, it mattered 10%. 10%. But the 90% was based upon who my agent was, his connections, nothing to do with me, right? But I'm not discouraging you, because basketball is universal, and there's basketball in every country that you can imagine. And it's also nice, good money, good connections. So just keep an open mind, and just realize that it is a business, and that if we take away the sport itself, it's about money, right? They make a lot of money. That's what attracts you, right? Yeah. Okay. But there's a lot of ways you can make money that's not as stressful, not so political, that you can enjoy yourself. Like, everybody knows the cost of living here, right? It doesn't take $1 million a year to support a family, right? So you have to measure it like that, because this job's right around. Take, for instance, my current position with ICANN didn't exist. When I approached the charity, they hadn't been involved in the community, and they asked me, how can we reach out, to the youth in Toronto? And I wrote up a business proposal, And, you know, we took it from there. And up until last year, ICANN was the biggest charity in North America. We had 350 partner memberships, organizations. We had 100 internet learning centers around Toronto, just like an internet cafe, but it was all free. We had computer-owned learning certification courses, and currently we have a 20,000 square foot warehouse at Birchmount and Roll-Off, where individuals can go in and purchase food at 20 cents a pound. And I mean, that's huge because not too many supermarkets sell by the pound. Right? So we've been very fair with our structure. I mean, I had no idea, like in my mind, I wanted to play in the NBA just like everybody else. But when I reached a certain situation and I see it was all political, I just was completely turned off away from it, because I realized at that point that whatever's not fair to the public, to individuals, I don't want to be a part of. Right? Because every NBA player represents a number. Almost like a, I don't want to say cattle, but I used to hang out in the Raptors head office sometime with the general manager. And I went into head office one time, and he had a board with magnets. And he had every team and every player's name on a magnet. And he told me that, hey, this guy is going here, this guy is going here, before it happened. So I mean, to certain individuals, it's not about the sport or the entertainment, it's about money. Right? It's about the images that's represented with the money, because to me, if athletes make $100 million in a certain city, and there's no programs that are really reaching out to the people, because on $100 million or whatever $1 billion, there's taxes involved. And taxes can feed a lot of people and look after a lot of people.
Well, first of all, any questions from the students?
So everybody's pretty grounded on their career choices in there. Everybody know what they're doing and where you're going. No? Any ideas? Yeah. Yes. Any teachers, future teachers in here?
They're afraid. Yeah, they don't want to admit it to the other students.
That's good. That's good. I mean, you know, Canada pays. I mean, teachers make decent salaries here, and I mean, it's a good career choices. I have 3 sisters that are teachers down in Texas and Louisiana, and I mean, it's a good career choice. Anybody else?
What about you were in Ireland, right?
Yes.
And can you tell us more what you were doing in Ireland?
1997, I received a phone call that there was a team in Ireland called Denny Notre Dame, which was sponsored by a major meat company in Ireland. So I went in as a replacement player and went into Dublin, beautiful city. And after being there 2 weeks, the team was already in second place, but midway through the season, there's a cup. They have a cup before the championship at the end of the season, just for prestige. And my team, we won the cup, and I ended up getting the MVP, which was unexpected because I hadn't blended with the team. I just, you know, I was nervous. I went in, I missed shots, and I was told I'll be the 4th option on offense. I was told not to shoot, only when I received the ball. After 3 or 4 guys get an opportunity, then I can shoot. So at that time, the first time I was told that I have to be on the bench. And it helped me later on because I realized that even sitting on the bench, you can learn a lot from the game, right? And we won the cup, I got the MVP, and I first started to do programs because in Ireland, there's a lot of counties surrounding the lower counties where there's not basketball in the schools. So we were part of an operation with the organization called Jump for Joy. And we did a lot of charity work, and we helped spread basketball throughout the countryside. And a part of my job, it was part of my application, my job application, but even after the game, we had to hang around for 2 hours to sign autographs because the youth were so, the young people were so excited. And I mean, at first I had a problem with that, but as you see the kids, you look at their faces, it was, something that, it was about giving, and they enjoyed that. So, I mean, I learned a lot there about programs and, the community and society.
So certainly there's a lot you can do with your sport
Yes.
into charity. Like, I mean, there's a real connection there.
Yes.
So you've done quite a lot of sports-oriented programming and...
Yes, we've been involved in a lot of programs here in Toronto through the services of ICANN. We have right here, right now, we have a summer camp. We've had 2 summer camps here in the past 2 years here at Lamb Room. We provide food for the youth. We have council staff from TDSB and also from ICANN. We pay young people, we pay them nice handsome salary for the summer to help counsel the youth because, education is important. There's definitely a lack and a need for teachers and leaders. And I would encourage each of you to take advantage of, the opportunities here in Canada. And, this is a great country. It's a nice country. And I think someone said on a talk show a while back that in a 1 mile radius of everybody's neighborhood, is, I think, $1 million or so that's accessible if you go about it in the right way. Like it's yours. Like, I mean, we live in the city here, there's a lot of very wealthy people, there's a lot of wealth around us, a lot of wealth that sometimes get donated to libraries and stuff like that. So I mean, there's a lot of people that are open to ideas, but they're looking for certain people to step forth and receive that. And just keep an open mind on the earth because the earth is it's like a basketball, and it's round and it rotates. And everybody on earth has an opportunity to master the game of life. And I think mastering the game of life has nothing to do with background, any history that was before our arrival, any history that comes after us. It's all about everybody's individual input, right? Because we live on a planet right now where there's major wars that take place. But we have to realize that no matter what you believe, if negativity exists in something, then it's our individual right, our individual free will to be able to move beyond negativity, no matter where it is or what it is, and be a positive representation of our costume, because our bodies represent a costume. We're always given costumes, right? Our bodies represent costumes because of the temporal mode.
Okay, any questions?
Any questions? Everybody's quiet. I heard talking before we came in, so I know there's communication. But then don't be afraid. Just express yourself.
Like, for example, how did you get through your first winter here? I mean, you went from New Orleans,
Yes.
but you didn't directly come here, right? You went.
No, I've been in the Middle East. I've been all over. I don't really look at stuff like that. That's the nature. And some people sometimes they complain about how much it rains. I mean, the rain is needed, the snow is needed. That stuff is just, that's not a part. It doesn't affect my everyday life. But I noticed today it rained, and people they just clogged up the 401 because people don't open their mind. A lot of people are guided by false media, right? And yes.
How was your scouting process?
Scouting process? Not good. Like when your teacher told me to come over, I remember in grade 10, like I told you, grade 12, the counselors told me about the pre-SAT the day before. And I had been in high school like 3-4 years. And of course, through pressure, I failed it because it was the only way to get into college as far as scouting, it's just like rap. In New Orleans, there was no rap when we were in high school, but it seemed like when certain players started to go to major universities, Ice-T and a rapper named Too Short, they used to hang out in the city a lot. So they started to take the rap stuff to another level and, you know, sell music. And I had scholarship offers, but my GPA was too low to go to four-year college, so I went to JUCO. And right now I hold the world history in field goal percentages. In 1991, I averaged 70% from the field in my conference. And nobody's broken that record in amateur or professional leagues. I mean, I don't, it's not bragging about it, I'm just saying that 70%, I think the average NBA player averages about 35%. Right? So I perfected my game. I mastered what I did, I played my role, and I respected my team, because everybody here represents a team, no matter what race, what religion, whatever you want to think about it. Everybody on this earth, at some point, must assemble and become one team, because guess what? All it takes, I mean, I don't want to get into UFOs and stuff like that, but all it takes is an encounter from something that we don't understand, and then you will see a team-oriented situation. You know? And just remember that no matter what a person does or says that negative, what separates you from the negative information? How do you handle it? How do you move past it? How do you move above it? A positive decision. It's fun, that's what you're for.
Huh? Oh, no.
Any other questions? So, for example, do you have any advice for the couple here, or also summer in soccer, trying to, or what would, so you did go to a university or college, you said, or?
I went to Columbia State Community College. I actually went to 2 community colleges because after my first 2 semesters at Columbia State, which was in Tennessee, I missed my parents. So I went back to New Orleans and I went to the local college for a year just to get reestablished and just to get some more confidence, and then I left home again. And I mean, sometimes we're gonna have up and downs in life, right? But don't be discouraged, because there's something that's called, I like to call it invisible energy. And some people call them adrenaline. I mean, well, this is not a physics class, but take for instance the wind. The wind is invisible. It's a very powerful mechanism, it's a very powerful energy that exists. The same with our thought process. Because each of us, I think each of us have the ability to create and control our surroundings on our actions and on our thoughts and on our behavior. So I mean, everything's obtainable in the world, but just keep an open mind, be positive, and realize that whatever your goals are, do not base it in money or finance, because that's material we need as substance, but it's not the overall purpose of life. As it's highlighted on TV, because what we see on TV is mainly the negative aspects of our society, repetitively, right? So there's something that's in battle with humanity, right? And you just have to be positive and don't be drawn in by the crowds, because the crowds have already been here, people have been here, they've already shown their time. Each of you have a time, right? You all represent the equation. Maybe one of you in here will change the world, right? Everybody here is important. It's not about money, it's not about neighborhood, it's not about race, it's not about color. Everybody invited here on this earth has an opportunity to pass the game. I believe that.
Now, for example, would you say they are actually lucky, this is my whole, to have a careers class? Because if you look back at your high school, you were saying like the counselors didn't in any way have anything, whereas here we've got a whole, now, of course, some days they're not gonna agree with this, but it is kind of good, right, to have something that kind of steers them to some choices.
You guys gotta realize that, everybody don't care in the world. I mean, you look at every celebrity or whatever in this city or in this country, and you look right here where we are today, who's here, who's talking to you, who's next to you, right? That says a lot. Just realize that your career choice shouldn't be based upon, you know, what your friend's doing or whatever. I find that if we get involved in some type of civil service or something that expresses knowledge, love, education, you know, that's what's going to help you be able to transform and to become, you know, good, powerful people or whatever. Because a lot of, I keep saying that you guys are fortunate, because you are fortunate, because there's regions in our world that I've lived, and I've seen negativity destroy a whole country or a whole nation based upon somebody's lie, based upon a lie. So how can we change that? We can change that by being a positive representation of who we are and what we believe. And whatever you're trying to get across, if it's always positive, and you don't step on toes, even if you encounter negativity, the way to defeat negativity is with positivity, because even negativity, or those that are negative, they still breathe the same air we breathe. Right? And I believe that whatever you want to call it, I call it a designed, sophisticated mechanism created the universe. And I think we all are being tested because we've only been given a glimpse of reality, and that's the fact that we're on Earth. But I think a scientist said that if you put together all the sands of the beaches in the world, it still wouldn't add up to the amount of planets that hover above us and below us. So I mean, that's something to think about. You know, so next time you encounter negative energy, realize why is it happening? Because you are being tested. Everybody here is being tested to see if we can surpass this mechanism.
I have your card here. Maybe for future reference, if any of these students wanted to apply, can they apply to ICANN?
Okay.
Or, well, or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, right now, currently, we have a distribution network, and if any of you, like we do, we have partnerships in all the religious communities. We have partners that they come to our warehouse to, you know, to get food supply for their programs, be it whatever it is. So we have a lot of help mechanisms for people. So I don't know if any of you guys are any part of religious organizations, but if you are in this nonprofit, and your organization can come in and purchase food products at 20 cents a pound for your programs. Yes.
How did you get involved with ICANN?
I met the owners, not the owners, but the founders of ICANN. I've been knowing them for about 10 years. It's a committee. It's like you guys sit here as a group of people. And after knowing them and doing small little operations in camps, something gave me the idea to pitch a sports idea to a charity that wasn't really involved in youth programs, because their main focus was education, certification, software, and stuff like that. And I said, hey, if we look at the Raptors, we look at the sports franchises that exist in the city, how many of the athletes are actually reaching out to the community? Yeah, there's Raptor foundations at Jane and Finch in different neighborhoods, but when you see Chris Bosh over there hanging out with the youth, no. So I said, hey, how can we get across to them? And I feel that if we launch a program, and I give the youth my perspective because, I didn't play in the NBA, but I played in countries where every club I participated in, you felt a part of the team. It wasn't about politics, it wasn't about image. It was about networking, connecting with positive people. And ICANN as a team, they took to the idea and they put resources in that area, and we've been getting nothing but positive responses. And, we have a huge network. I work in many different communities. I had a year ago, I organized 8 teams in Somali community, and it went well. And like I said, there's a lot of resources right around you guys. And believe me, grade 10, your age, remember, age is just a number. Don't be blinded by your age. It's all about knowledge. The library is over there, free information. Actually, that's like a friend, because there's certain information over there that can set you up for life if you approach it the right way. Because you're not at an age where you can't approach the kid in the city. If you put together a plan of an idea, 3 or 4 people, friends or whatever, and say, hey, maybe we can do this to help the youth or whatever in a certain area. Government has money, corporations have money aside. Corporation. You have to build yourself, and I think you should build that in a positive way. And take advantage of your resources. It's all around. Right? It's all around.
Any other questions? Okay, well, thank you very much for sharing some of your thoughts.
Yes.
I really appreciate it. It's always good to get different perspectives.
Different perspectives,
How
yes.
different people have progressed in life, and certainly not every day somebody has done pro basketball in other countries. I think that's something we overlook. NBA is like the ultimate.
I would have never thought that in 10th grade, because in my mind it was like, I'm going to make it big because I know I'm good enough. And when you start to reach a certain level, then the business aspect steps in. And just get back on Raptors right quick. I was in the Raptors camp, and the NBA had an expansion draft that year, so they brought in guys that were veterans up to Toronto that had been finished contracts in other teams. So based upon that, and based upon certain financial backers that represent a certain community, I was on the court playing against these NBA, so-called quote-unquote NBA players. Remember, everybody's a person, no matter how much money they have. Everybody's a human being. So don't be deceived by image. I started to overtake these people, and I had to just sit down and just call the time out of my mind, because I couldn't believe I was better than NBA veterans at that time, because they were making minor mistakes. And I went to the Raptors game last year, and I see guys missing layups. Guys making $10 million a year, so that's something to look at. But when the politics stepped in, it was a huge shock to me, because I had the owner and certain people. They said, "Hey, look, we definitely can't have a union, then sometimes you get booted out." But it took me a while to adjust. But then I realized that if the fight is that hard, then there's something better, something bigger. And of course there was. I had the opportunity to play for, not quote-unquote NBA franchise, but franchise that is similar in those particular countries. And the certain countries I go in right now, I still have a fan base. And that's exciting, to have kids come up to you on the sidewalk and, ask you about, the team and stuff like that. But, you gotta keep balance, keep it balance. And remember, you're gonna encounter adversities in this life. But I think it's very important to weigh out every situation that you encounter. And always remember that a positive addition moves you past that situation. All right? Because if we overwhelm ourselves with negativity, then what separates us from the adversary? Right? What separates us? All right, so we have to weigh out every scenario. And remember that sometimes even adults, in their positions, we all have problems. Right? I don't know if you guys have problems with teachers and principals and stuff like that, or police or whatever like that. But people have problems in every situation. People deal with negativity, but just don't get caught up into the crowd and, you know, use your own mind. And remember that the game of life, those who master the game of life are those who are able to put negativity and negative images in their place and move on forward to the goal. And I think the goal is, you know, something that surpasses, you know, space and time.
Thank you very much.